Hello and welcome to Lifestyle and Sports Hub. Today we're out here in Horton, Sabah, Nesama suburbs, and where Castle is launching their new Castle Double Malt.
Talk to us about Castle Double Malt. What makes this newest member of the Castle family different?
So Sven, this is such a special beer. I think what makes it so different is that it's the first double malt beer to launch in Africa. So let alone South Africa we're talking here. So that in itself is an amazing feat. But what really differentiates it from everything is that it is a celebration of two malts from Caledon and Elroad. And I don't know if you guys have been there, but these places are so different. Caledon has these rolling fields of greenery and it's beautiful, and Elroad, very industrial, is beautiful in its own right as well. And these two beautiful things, when they come together, they create something so superior. And that is what double malt is. It's the celebration of these two malts to bring you this most amazing beer.
I love that. That's so really cool. And I mean, look at how beautiful this actually looks. It looks completely different from the entire portfolio. It's giving me really premium and amazing cues. Of course, we're at the Monroe. I mean, all the way up. And talk to me about design. I know it's a real passion point for you as a beautifully creative person who really has an attention to detail. Talk to us about the design process, the meaning behind what we see on this pack.
So this was my favorite part of the process, as well as creating the brand world. But even though, so Castle Double Malt, it sits in that accessible premium space, but it doesn't mean that we can't look premium and we can't make our consumers feel like they're drinking the most premium product. And that's what we had through everything that we created for Castle Double Malt. I mean, look at this bottle. I mean, the can is everything. It's my favorite, if I'm honest. And on top of it being beautiful, we were actually fortunate enough to launch it in a 410 can, or 410 ml. And this is also an innovation in itself in the SAB world. So amazing to be able to bring something that looks and feels so premium into the world. And at the same time, getting women into beer. I mean, I'm a woman and I feel proud holding this can, and the bottle even. So it was really just about making people feel proud and feel like they're elevated.
What exactly do we mean by double malt?
So by double malt, we're specifically talking about the two malts and their sources of where they come from. So Elroad and Caledon being the single point of where these malts basically feed in from the fields. Because we've got the Caledon malt, which is essentially grown out in the open, in the fields, completely reliant on natural rainfall, which gives some of the malt its characteristics because, as you know, the South African weather can be a little bit temperamental, and then we have to deal with that as brewers to try extract as much of the flavor and refreshment out of it. Well, when we look at Elroad, this is now where we called our irrigation areas, where we have to now rely on manually irrigating our fields and then that malt being brought in to creating that gene.
Amazing. And now, being a member of the Castle family where there's so much intrinsic diversity, what sets this one apart from, say, a Castle lager?
So for me, it's really around that balance and smoothness. Because Castle lager is that rich experience where you've got that nice crisp bitterness, and that's where they say never sweet. Because it's really there to provide that refreshment, that crispness. However, with Castle Double Malt, we want to take you on that journey from the first sip through to the body and then down to the finish, where we don't want to go too high or too low and give you this fantastic, smooth feeling throughout, where you can then start breaking down the malt characteristics, some of that caramel sweetness, and then finish off into a nice lingering bitter.
So now tell us at a high level, what goes into the brewing process for a Castle Double Malt?
So Castle Double Malt being one of those brands that very much relies on the raw materials, it's about how we then use it in the brewing process. So it's really about the conversion of that malt, turning it into this delicious sugary liquid where we basically provide our yeast the building blocks to produce the alcohol and all the different metabolites that give you the flavor, things like melanoidins, caramel notes, toasty biscuity that I can't wait to talk about later. But ultimately, a lot of effort in the hot side where you do those conversions, where a mere 5 minutes can drastically change the outcome of the beer. requires so much expertise and passion going into that control to make sure we get it right every time.
Tell us how to enjoy this, from the pouring to the everything.
Okay, so to start off, you'll see I've actually kept the bottle closed. And one of the main reasons about this is that we specifically increased our carbonation just by a little bit compared to some of our other brands to really help cut through some of that smoothness and also help elevate the aroma. So we'll see how I can do this with, there you go, space up. But as you open up, you'll already hear that nice CO2 pop, which lets you know it's good to go. And then as you pour by a 45-degree angle, you watch as that foam starts building up, that thick, dense head, which is essentially coming from the fact that we're using 100% malt. And then at the end, a little bit of a flourish to help bring it up. Because as you can see at this point, you've now got this perfectly delicious, dense foam that is now sitting at the top of the glass. And when you've got that good, clean glassware and that fresh beer, you're going to see this sit around for the whole drink. You'll see it lacing, like some nice Venetian lace coming down the glass throughout the whole experience. So before you even taste, you drink with your eyes, so we can also see a fantastic, crisp, light golden, brilliantly clear color with the bubbles just gently licking up the glass. It's absolutely phenomenal. I absolutely, like, this should be my screensaver pretty much on my computer and my phone, just because I could watch this for hours. So with all of this going on in the glass, you also then have the aromatic components, your combination of the esters that have been derived from your malt proteins, as well as some of the hoppiness that we can talk about just now, that then starts concentrating within the top of the glass. So then when you come through, you don't want to stick your nose in and take a big whiff, because you're almost going to be robbing yourself of the experience. You really want to do a very light drive-by, just to allow it to gently caress your nostrils. So,
It's touching my nostrils.
yeah, let it touch, let it caress.
On my studio.
So then what you should be getting is a very light, toasty caramel note, which is coming from our two malts. Because using 100% malt in this beer, you've concentrated those components, those starches, those proteins that through the brewing process get transformed into melanoidins, which are basically there to give you these fantastic rich notes. But then just before that actually takes through, you then get some of that effervescent fruitiness that's also coming from our yeast metabolites that are absolutely loving 100% malt. It's really a great opportunity for it to actually do the transition during the fermentation process. And then finally you get that lingering fruitiness, which is a combination also from a local ingredient, our hops from the George Hop Farms, which provides that elevated aroma. So at this point, we've looked at it, we've smelt it, we've started drinking it in with our eyes and our nose. Now it's time to take a nice deep sip.
Cheers.
Castle has been giving us great beer since 1895, and today they're still here to give us more great beer. As you can see, we just launched their new Castle Double Malt. Hope that when the beer is out there on the shelves, you will enjoy it. From me, KG Wanamamadi, but don't forget to like, share and subscribe all our content. Siyabonga.